What is the first book you ever read? Don't worry, I don't remember either. To be honest, I have no recollection of anything that happened before I turned 5. All I know is that by the time I got into kindergarten, I was far more advanced at reading than most of my classmates. According to my parents, on the first day of school, I was given a worksheet entitled Welcome to Kindergarten with the word cat in giant letters in the middle. When asked to read what the paper said, I responded, let's see. Welcome to Kindergarten. In elementary school, I read the timeless classics that are Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Captain Underpants, Dogman, and Big Nate. My teacher told me that these weren't real books, but if we're being honest, the second Captain Underpants is better than Shakespeare's entire bibliography. Even at the time, I recognized that these books didn't have any deep meaning or themes behind them, but they were entertaining and that was all I cared about. The first chapter books I became obsessed with were those in the Percy Jackson series. I was already interested in mythology, partially due to my lack of knowledge of mythology, so I became hooked. Not only did I read all of Percy Jackson, but I read the multiple other series by the author which took place in the same universe. And then middle school started, killing all of the passion I had for reading. The education system took away any desire I had to read outside of school. I'm not saying schools shouldn't teach reading, that would be stupid. School has the very important job of effectively forcing students to know how to read. The problem is, the way reading is taught to students made me want to never read again. In 7th grade English class, I read To Kill a Mockingbird. It was a phenomenal piece of literature, and I recognized that. But I hated the process of reading it, not due to the book itself, but due to the 10-question quiz which we would have for every 2 chapters. When I was reading, I was no longer experiencing a piece of art. I was doing an assignment. Imagine you're in school. Great analogy, I know. And your class is about to watch a movie. Now imagine the teacher hands out a worksheet. While you watch the movie, you will have to answer dozens of short answer questions. Would you enjoy that experience? I could be witnessing the greatest scene in the history of cinema, but it will be completely ruined the moment you make me write a paragraph about it. Which brings me to my next point. School made me hate writing too. When I had to write in school for the first time, I thought it was incredibly boring. School does a good job of teaching the technical skills involved in writing, but writing is supposed to be a form of creative expression, in which you creatively express your own ideas. School taught me proper grammar and how to use commas, but I was given very little creative freedom in terms of the ideas I was actually expressing. In elementary school, I had an assignment where I was supposed to write 4 sentences starting with the words first, next, then, and finally, in that order. I understand what this was trying to teach, but telling me the exact words to use in my own sentences is absurd. At that point, it's not even my paragraph anymore, just write it for me. This lack of freedom continued into middle and high school with a 5-paragraph essay. First, we needed to write an intro paragraph with a hook at the beginning and a thesis statement with the main 3 points of the essay at the end. Next, we had to write 3 body paragraphs, which needed a topic sentence, evidence, and an explanation for that evidence. Finally, we always had to end with a conclusion, which was pretty much useless. What if I have less or more than 3 major points? What if one of my points requires more than 2 quotes to explain or justify? What if, God forbid, I want to make a point in a way that doesn't fit in this stupid, restrictive formula? I think writing is taught this way because of standardized testing. It's much easier to grade 50 essays if you look at which essays check all of the boxes they're supposed to instead of considering the ideas that are being presented. They don't care about what I have to say. They don't care about my ideas. So why should I? This also applies to reading. Literature is subjective, but subjective things are difficult to test, so books are treated as if they only have one objective interpretation. Now that I don't have to take as many standardized tests, my teachers have been giving me more creative freedom. In fact, this video is an assignment for English class. I've been making videos for the past few years of my life, which has made me realize that I love writing, at least when I'm in control over what I write. And since I'm reading more outside of school, I'm remembering why I loved to read as a kid. It's fun. Not every book needs to have life-changing themes or deep topics. If I enjoy a book, that's all that really matters. I'm not saying that I regret going to school, but because of the way school taught me, I thought I hated reading and writing, when in reality, I never did. By reading and writing outside of school, you might realize that you enjoy doing these things. If you think you hate reading, try to read something outside of school. There's no pressure to remember every detail, and there won't be a test, so just enjoy it. If you think you hate writing, make YouTube videos. It is a fantastic use of your time.